Hey everyone, this is Coach K coming to you live again for the Game Changers. Welcome to our orientation day 2. The first topic of this boot camp clinic is called Clarity. We're on day 2 for the 40-day fast. Hope you guys enjoyed the first 20-minute session. Today we're going to do another 20-minute session. Sometimes it won't be 20 minutes. Sometimes it'll be a little bit less. But we're hoping to get you acclimated in our system so that you can be a part of our Urban Peace Corps, hoping to change the world with our skills, talents, and wonderful, wonderful partnerships. So let's begin. I'm going to start off with the Gideon's spiritual guidance cards. What we're going to do with this golden fleece is get us some confirmation and clarity for our coaching session today, our orientation conversation on clarity. What's very important about clarity, why it's part of our orientation, is because first you have to come in with 2020. And if you don't have 2020, we need to prescribe you, give you some prescription, help you, direct you, and guide you. And we'll give you some recommendations, and we'll set you up with coaches and avatars and try to get you on the path of clarity. And then once you get to a level of clarity and you become a practitioner of clarity, then we can begin the work. So that is our way of transitioning you from your everyday daily life in the industries into our community as an urban ranger, Peace Corps. So let's begin. I've already been pulling some of these cards so that we can get some confirmation and affirmation and inspiration today. What our conversation will be about is clarity, and we're looking for our first message. Now, when we developed this Gideon fleece, we were hoping to put this in our practitioner bag as a way to clear the air when we are interacting with our customers, clients, potential partners. This helps us clear the air. We want to first work on clarity, and then we build our case. Once we get a level of clarity using assessments, evaluation, examination, we can begin to dive into the nitty gritty, and that's the work, the action plans, the think tank, innovation and inventions, research and development, and we can also build together and use our task force to do that, committees, coalitions, campaigns, initiatives. So you see, we do a lot behind scenes. We may not be in the forefront getting all the recognition and praise and such, but we definitely have a butterfly effect, and we believe that everything we do is part of the bigger scheme of things. So let's begin working on getting our cards together to have a conversation, and then we'll build on our clarity with this in mind. We're building our tool sack so that you can be a practitioner of clarity. And in that goal of practitioner, we're building the world. And when we build the world, we are looking towards beautification, modernization, green zone behavior, green zone environments, green zone ecosystems, green zone corporate behavior, where there's social responsibility, transparency, social accountability, and the inspiration and motivation to maintain these systems of social progress. We're hoping to leave behind us social systematic oppression. We're hoping to end and eliminate imprisonment, violence, senseless mass violence, and incarceration. And our goal is to go into poverty-stricken communities, ghettos, and communities that are underdeveloped, and decide how we're going to develop these communities in a eco-friendly, economical equality where it meets the needs of the community and build their own integrity and dignity for economic wealth. So let's begin. So I see here that this is a great opportunity today on our second day. Good job with your fast. Those that are doing the Daniel fast, which is fruits and vegetables, smoothies and soups, very little bread and little sugar, only fruit sugar. And in that case, and part of the juice is acceptable. Maybe natural sugars, as agave is one of my favorites, brown sugar, and so forth. So we have here, as a reminder, that you are welcome to do 5 hours or more fasting with no water and no food. Maximum, of course, is 24 hours per day. You break your fast with one meal after the 24 hours, and then you do the 24 hours again. If you do it that way, that's fine. Or you can do 5 hours and then break the fast and then go back on it at 5 hours again and do incrementals as such. So here is the spread for today, the coaching session confirmation for our second day of clarity. We have Queen. We have a black suit for Queen and King and a Jack. We got 2 kings, 2 jacks. We're going to organize this. We have black suits for 3, 4, and a 5. And then we have black suit as a ace and a 9, which is the completion of the deck, which I use to complete the conversation. And then we have a 10. We almost have a whole house here. Full house. The red suit, we have a king, ace, jack. Oh, 2 aces. We got 2 aces in the red. And then we have a 8 and a 10 and a 7 and a 2. So the red represents relationships and the black represents business. So it looks like we have a powerhouse today, confirming the things in the universe and our movement as a urban peace corps. I see also as a avatar systematic university. We have excellent spread. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 strong suits that allow us to know that we have ancestors among us and the Almighty among us. That's a presence, huge presence of infinity and mortality. And then we have the minor presence, which comes into the advancement, 2 advancements. So that shows that we're going to produce double anointing, double power in the world. It also confirms that we're going to have perfection and new beginnings. We have a 2 and a 3 represents more of the eternal presence in our midst. And then we have a 4, 5 that shows balance and improvement and some struggle for iron sharpen iron. So we have very small, minor. We keep an eye on all things because the little things can lead to great things. So we want to make sure we keep an eye on our opposition, and we use prayer and we use meditation, we use fasting to keep that opposition and struggle at a minimum. But it looks like in our spread, it is a minimum. So we have good confirmation today. Excellent confirmation. So let me count the numbers: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We got 13 plus 20. So that's 33. 33 plus 7 is 40. Okay, so 40 plus let me see, 8 is 48. And then 57 plus 9. 57 plus 9 is 66. So we have 66, number 66, which is a double six. Once again, the double anointing. Then we have 6 plus 6 is a 12. So then we have 12 as far as that means completion of tribal. So that shows that we have an excellent community doing the work. And then 1 plus 2 is 3. So once again, that's the Tribune, represents family. We have that as a confirmation. And then once we get to 3, we have a number 3, which it shows that we are going to have financial wealth, blessings. So that was an excellent confirmation. As always, we want to make sure we have a good guidance from our ancestors, and that gave us a good confirmation, good word from the immortality and infinite life. Knowing that we are on the right path is a good confirmation. So it gives us clarity when we start working on our orientation today. So we're going to dig into the anatomy. We are going to talk a little bit about the anatomy, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Daniel chapter 1. So that was the homework for us yesterday. And then our homework for tomorrow will be Daniel 2. And then we're going to go below the head. We're going to talk about the head, the command center today. And then tomorrow, we're going to talk about, after we do the homework, the assignment, we're going to talk about the neck. And then we're going to go back and talk about the shoulders on the third day. And then chapter 3. So that's how the next couple of days going to look like. So let's begin. So the head, the command center. So as you can tell, when you have to work with people with reflexology or pressure points, or you working on healing work or light work or what you call it, energy work, when you start with the head, we're talking about the command center. The flaw that we have in the world when we talk about meditation, or we talk about mentorship or mediation, we forget to talk about what goes on in our head, our command center, what's going on in our programming, what's programming us, and who is our practitioners to help us wire us together correctly or accurately or better, improved, right? And so when we are doing the orientation, the Peace Corps, the Urban Peace Corps, we have vendors around the world that work within their communities with their skills, their anointing, and with their talents. We do not get in the middle of their rhythm when they play the cards according to the playbook. And our playbook is 3 main issues: social responsibility, social accountability, and transparency. We believe that when you are socially responsible, you are keeping up with all your evaluations, your examinations, your recommendations, and we have a track record. And so whether it's video, it's audio, whether it's witnesses, word of mouth, we have demonstrations private and publicly. We are always in a awareness that 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, we're being accounted for, we're being observed, monitored, and watched. And so when we use our droning systems, or we use our multimedia systems, our goal is not to showcase the strengths all the time, but to also make sure we can improve, so that when we do research and development, We study the videos, we study the archivals, and we study all the files to see whether or not we need to improve. And so this is another coaching session for other companies to learn from our model that social responsibility is not just to have a multimedia platform to show our strengths, to market and advertise and public relations, to build our statistics and our analytics, but it's also a way to do monitoring and observation so that we can research and develop and improve through invention and innovation with our think tanks and our task forces. And so when we have vendors that sign up to be part of our alliance, they are recognizing that social responsibility is our number one progress report, as well as our number one process report. So we process things in a way that we can achieve greatness, but also we can be good stewards over the little things through quality control and quality analysis and quality assurance. And for those that want me to break some of those conversations down, we will work on not micromanaging our vendors. We're working as a collaboration. We're working as a partnership where we can come in as a partner and collaborator to help bridge the gap for any type of deficiencies. And so when we go into a community, we make a recommendation from our assessments, from our clarity, our accuracy, and our quality standards. And then we talk to the vendor or the partner, the leader of that team that is the guardian or steward over that community or that corporation or that region. And we start building a social responsible system that we call SIMS, the Social Impact Management System. And so in this orientation, we're learning clarity systems so that you can go in with 2020 vision. And so when we talk about 2020 vision on the year of 20, to our 2020, we are expecting great things, but we're very focused on building from ground up and then top down. So with that said, today, when we talk about the head, the command center, one of the ways we use our social responsibility is through alternative healing. And inside of alternative medicine, we use the command center as the first podium, the first platform to wire or regulate or delegate from. So we start from the head to the toes, and then from the toes to the head. And so when we go to the command center with our head structures, we understand the anatomy from the skeleton structure, and then the blood structure, blood supply structure, and then the muscle supply structure, and then the cell structures. Then we group these together. And so when we start working on reflexology or pressure points, we may not have to touch the body to do our healing work. We may have to use the knowledge and then position our hands with that knowledge, and then that connection build a new system through our energy. And that's called energy work. And people wonder, why am I talking about this as part of the Urban Peace course? Because our practitioners, that is you, getting oriented, when you're on the phone talking to people through our hotline as a help desk, or through the ground where we're doing special operations and you're on our operation team, the very first thing we use as a first aid kit, and we call it the first aid kit, we discuss how we are able to be clarity workers or practitioners. And the first thing we check is the head, to make sure the head have its command center intact with the proper equipment to use and programming wired correctly. So we ask questions not to see whether or not you are knowledgeable per se, but to see what you're working with, see what kind of quality standards you have. And then we'll start using the energy work and using the reflexology and the pressure points to align your chakras, to align your structures in a way that there is no blockage, no deficiencies, so that we can eliminate or minimize the head injury, or what we call any injuries, brain injuries or trauma injuries. And so working with the person at their best, 99.9%, instead of starting off with them at 30 to 40 or 50%. So we always check first the head capacity. What are their way of thinking? What are their availability physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually and socially through the head command center? And so this is one of the things that we train our practitioners to do, be aware of. If they're not in communication with you and they break communication and they're not unable to connect and there's a disconnect, you have to go through a different means, and that's alternative medicine. And that's energy work. And we will talk about energy work with the last conversations that you can use as part of a medicinal way of producing stronger bonds through, some people call it paranormal activity, but we call it in our circle energy work. Everything is called energy work. And this energy work is called our first aid kit energy work, the basics of health and wellness for energy. Okay, we are all energy beings. We are components of 4 different groupings, but they all lead to the same place, and that's energy. So we learn to move energy and use that energy like we do with fire and water. We use water and fire in different capacities to heal, to cook, to clean. So we do the same thing with energy. So this is one of the conversations that we have to have on orientation day 2. Day 1 was just to let you know that we are clarity practitioners, and we use the conversation as a energy, medicine. And so one of the ways we use energy work is not just knowledge, knowing the anatomy from head to toe, knowing the names of all the structures, and being able to significantly move the energy through our minds, through our bodies, through our words. We learn how to practice in a way that we're mastered it, and we can be a surgeon, sorry, a clarity surgeon, and repair things, and maintenance. And that's where we, as a group, go in through phone conversations or through the ground of special operations. So we're going to wrap up this conversation with chapter 1 with Daniel. Daniel demonstrates this power of energy movement through having a conversation with the divine and the divinity. And so we are going to discuss when he comes into the forefront of the king of Babylon, and he's introduced as a child. And so what is important about this conversation is how they started with his name and working on the head capacity. What is he working with mentally or in his command center? The first thing they noticed, he had a interpretation of dreams. He was able to have conversation with a divinity, a divine, to move energy and to do work that allowed the king to have an advantage. And so we're going to build on that conversation later in the orientation. But what was needed out of this conversation, to do a summary and a closure, Daniel became a clarity practitioner in the kingdom of Babylon. So, one of the greatest kingdoms or empires of all history. Okay. They were in reign for over 10,000 years, if not more. So, their civilization was very advanced, very sophisticated, and they had a good running record, transparency of what they did and how they were able to capitalize off of divinity and divine truth seers or clarity practitioners, and they was able to collaborate and work with them. And this is what we're using this as a demonstration of what we're able to do. Well, thank you again for your time. And we're going to do orientation day 3 tomorrow. And we hope that you will continue on the good fight and stay motivated. And we will talk to you soon. This is Coach K signing off. And we hope that all is well. One love, much love. Peace and blessings.